Hey guys, Joe29 Shiba here, and today we're gonna rank my Spider-Man movies. So, apparently I've been wanting to do this for a while, but now I finally get to do this. So, apparently, here's some rules. 1, these are all gonna be Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man movies, just with Spider-Man. But if I will not include any of the MCU Spidey movies. I will include only two of them, Homecoming and Far From Home. And I will not include anything like Infinity War, Endgame, or Civil War. I will not include those. And also, here's another thing. Rule number 2. These are my opinions. So, if you guys don't agree with me, that's fine. If you disagree with me. Also, here's one thing. Don't take this into account and don't go too far and attack me if your favorite Spider-Man movie isn't on the list and you got mad at I put it somewhere else. So, I'm sorry if you have your favorite Spider-Man movies lower than mine, because these are my only opinions. So without further ado, let's get this started.
At number 8, my worst Spider-Man movie, the worst one in my opinion. Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, why is this low on my list? Well, I'll tell you why. The reason why this is low on my list is because it feels like not a Spider-Man movie. It feels like they're just making a comedy instead of Consequences. But I feel like Consequences is much more important than comedy. Also, here's something important. You give him a Spider-Man suit, which feels like he's wearing an Iron Man suit, and it feels like this movie doesn't feel like it's about Spider-Man. It feels like it's about Iron Man. And I'm like, if you wanted an Iron Man movie, make another Iron Man movie. Stop using Spider-Man as your Iron Man assistant. And I'm like, this. What did they do to Peter and how they ruined him from Civil War? Remember how when Peter said, well, you can do the things I can, but you don't. And then the bad things happen. They happen because of you. He knew that, but apparently they replaced that with something else. Like, if you're nothing without that suit, you shouldn't have it. I'm like, why would they replace that and have him bother that he's trying to need a suit if he already knew he doesn't need a suit in Civil War? Seriously, and John Watts should not direct another Spider-Man movie ever again after he touched this. The Russos should have directed this. Because they know every character in the comics and know how they are in the comics. So this means the Russo should have directed it. And also, he doesn't have any consequences. And no, Liz leaving Midtown does not count as a consequence, because that's clearly just because she's just a crush. That's it. She has nothing else. And also, Michael Keaton Vulture is pretty cool. He's pretty cool, and the humor, they try to make you laugh a lot of the times, but I'm like, every scene, I'm like, you can't do that, except for one scene. The only scene that made me manage to get a huge laugh out of me was when they did the Ned, I need your car scene, when he does his Batman voice, and then he steals Flash's car, or the part where he just does this, Mom walks into saying, oh, what are you watching? While Peter's trying to contact him. And that's about it. And the reason why it's still low on the list, because it doesn't feel like a Spider-Man movie. It feels like an Iron Man movie, and the action is terrible. The acting's kind of good, but it's still not that good. And also, the one scene they don't have is emotion. The rubble scene they try to do is when he's like, and he's calling out for help. He's like, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man, you can do it. I'm like, it feels so cringy. It feels like it's laughable. Seriously. Can't they just make it emotional? I want a Spider-Man movie with emotional moments and not paper-thin characters. And also, before I further explain, get on to my next Spider-Man movie, here's the thing. They make Aunt May so attractive, they're like, ooh, guys will find her attractive. I'm like, she's a character! Why can't you write her as a character? It's not hard to do. They better not. I hope this isn't the start they followed their agenda. Please don't make this the start of following their agenda. Their political agenda. At number 7. The second worst Spider-Man movie. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Though this is controversial. Please, don't kill me. Now, it still sucks. But at least it's better than Homecoming. But it's the weakest out of the two movies. While, this has better action, but it feels like they're trying to do some stuff like, he feels like he has consequences, like Harry going through the same Goblin Serum what his dad is going through, and also Electro versus Spider-Man. That was the best fight in the entire movie. It's one of the best fights in the entire movie. It was good action. But, apparently, and also, you know what the scene has in Homecoming? It has emotion. You know what the best scene they actually did for emotion? Gwen Stacy's death. When Peter almost actually fails to save her, I actually would cry during that. It's very sad. Now, the movie sucked, but that moment doesn't. It feels like a death that Peter has now gone through now. Since he's now in that type of death, she's on the death, and also Peter starts to stop being Spider-Man. Because the crime is raising in the city. And also, Gwen's speech from the graduation is a lot more powerful than, if you're nothing without a suit, then you shouldn't have it. Like, to remind us who we are. And I think it clearly that's a good way of giving us a good message. But there's still more negatives than positives. Because the movie still Electro is a positive, but it doesn't feel like when we have Jamie Foxx go as just regular Electro backs, and okay, when you get to Electro, you look a lot better, because you don't have those teeth. And then now you look cool, all blue. And I like that one. Plus, they try to do so many stories at once, the plot feels a lot of a mess, but at least there's a few parts that are entertaining. So, it's still the second worst Spider-Man movie. So, without further ado, that is my number 7 for this spot. Also, here, before I go on to the next one, I still forgot to mention, they clearly treat Aunt May like she's a character. She's like a mother to Peter. They treat her like she's his Peter, like she's her mother, and Peter's her son. That's what I think it is. And also, I will clearly go back and rewatch this over the Spider-Man Homecoming any day. At number 6, Spider-Man Far From Home. And now, everyone is very, 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 very shocked, saying, why would you put it low on your list? And I know a bunch of fangirls are gonna come in and start raging in the comments, say to me, you only despise this because you think Tom's not good. No, you're saying, oh, but Tom is cute, he's hot. I'm like, ah! So I was saying, I'm like, shh. And fanboys will also be going, how dare you do this? This is the best Spider-Man movie of all time. How dare you? I'm like, why are they the critics calling this the best Spider-Man movie when it's clearly the number 1 movie on the list? But however, this movie has more problems. Now, before I get to the problems, let me get to my positives. The action. At least the action's good. And then Mysterio's cool. And that's it. That's all it is. Because this movie takes place after Endgame. And they clearly just try to make every joke every 15 seconds. This is what I told people in I forgot to tell people in my review that here's the thing. Is this what people want from a Spider-Man movie? I'd rather have a Spider-Man movie that's emotional, graphic, and guess what? The reason why I prefer the Amazing Spider-Man movies is because at least characters died in this one. Well, I'm not going to spoil the ending for this, but I'll say this. Shouldn't they be worried about Peter of like, hey Peter, what happened during to this? You didn't feel so good? Because what happened? We got turned to dust. And Aunt May, she's just cool with Peter being Spider-Man. I'm like, shouldn't she have like an emotional reaction to when she finds out Peter's Spider-Man? That should have happened. I wish we got Infinity War, a deleted scene from Infinity War to find out. Please, we should have gotten that. And also, there's another problem. The Force Sorry about it. Meant to say, the forced romance between Peter and Michelle. It felt so forced that I couldn't even... Feels like make me feel uncomfortable. That's not how you do a love story. This is a second forced romance next to Hulk and Black Widow and Avengers Age of Ultron. Please don't kill me, guys. Please don't kill me. I'm stating my opinion, not facts. Please don't kill me. At number 5, The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, apparently this is more of a bigger improvement than a little bit more of an improvement than... Sorry, but the strongest out of improvement a bit from Spider-Man 3. Now, they kinda... not as good as that, but apparently, I can have some enjoyment from this movie. It's a lot better than a lot of people think. It's not as bad as every Spider-Man fan makes it out to be. And seriously, I'll say this. There's so many good scenes I can remember from this movie. I can remember scenes like, for example, like the bridge scene where Peter's inspirational is helping the kid get out the car. Is like, Jack, come on! And it was very inspirational. I think it captured the heartfelt of Spider-Man. And him trying to save people from the bridge from falling in their cars. That feels like original. It's a lot better than what everyone else thinks. And everyone else, I took my MCU shade sunglasses because they clearly do not know what the MCU has done to Spider-Man. But this one treats Spidey better. And also, the better thing is, the action's better than Far From Home. And you know what's a lot better? It's serious, and yet it managed to make funny jokes. Like, someone's made a bad lizard, or, is that a knife? My weakness is small knives! That was pretty funny. That joke with the small knives was pretty funny. At number 4, Spider-Man 3. Now, this is not the best, but kind of feels like the weakest of the Raimi trilogy. And now, I'll say this. This is not as bad as every Spider-Man fan makes it out to be. And clearly, this is a lot better. Better than the Amazing... It's a little better than Amazing Spider-Man. Plus, it's better than the other movies I just mentioned, because I can remember so many things. Think of it. The fight between Peter, Spider-Man, and Sandman in the black suit in the train scene. Dang, that's the best fight in the entire movie. And the fights are so cool, because I actually pretty much find them a lot entertaining. And also, you know what this has? That Spider-Man Far From Home and Homecoming, the MCU Spider-Man and Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield do not have? Emo Peter! Dance! See, this proves Tobey Maguire can dance a lot better than Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield combined. At number 3, the first Spider-Man movie, The Perfect Origin. Now this movie is good because it's the perfect origin. The perfect origin movie to start off with. Now here's something I wanted to say. If I was able to introduce my kids to Spider-Man, I'm not going to introduce them with Spider-Man Homecoming, or the MCU Spider-Man. I'm going to introduce them with this Spider-Man. This Spider-Man is a lot better than the others. And now, why is this one better than Homecoming, the Amazing Spider-Man 1? Well, it contains many memorable scenes. I can remember a lot of them. Scenes like the fight scene with Green Goblin in the festival. I think it was the festival. Yeah, the festival to the upside from Uncle Ben, like Uncle Ben's shot to the fight in the festival, and to also to the cute moment, the Peter and Mary Jane kiss upside when Peter's laying upside down. He kisses her. She kisses him in the rain. That's very iconic. Or the most iconic, the Norman Osborn death scene. And seriously, this is so much good enough. It's actually the perfect superhero origin to start off with, because it feels like a superhero movie, even though it is a superhero movie. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies out there. At number 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, this movie is one of the best movies of 2018. I'll even say it's better than Infinity War. It surpassed Infinity War and became one of my favorite films from that year. Even though I had to see it this year. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man films this year. Apparently it was released on Christmas, but I had to go see it in 2019. So it doesn't count. So, and also, here's something I want to say. This movie apparently feels like a kid's Spider-Man movie, but feels like it's written for adults. It feels like it's an adult Spider-Man movie, but they managed to make it fun for both kids and adults. With the funny jokes, and Miles and Morales trying to bond with the other people, like how they share connections, like the deaths of their loved ones. Also, this was pretty cool how they have good action scenes, and the animation is pretty good. It feels like I'm reading a comic book. I really like that comic book art style. Now, this is like the perfect Spider-Man movie to see. Now, guys, you need to watch this Spider-Man movie. Now, I recommend you watch it. I heard that there's a sequel going around, and so I think this should get a sequel in the future. And also, I really, really, really like this movie. This movie has good animations, good fight scene, good emotional moments, and has great soundtrack, and has really good character development for Miles. So, if this is not number 2, but what's number 1? At number 1, my number 1 favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man 2. You see, no matter what Spider-Man movie comes in my way, none of them will dethrone Spider-Man 2, in my opinion. Now, everyone's asking, how isn't Spider-Verse number 1 on your list than Spider-Man 2? Well, Spider-Verse is my second favorite, because of one reason. Well, Spider-Verse focuses on Miles' story. It focuses on Peter's story. And it also goes through with him, like, losing his powers, him trying to live a normal life, but he realizes he can't live a normal life. He's trying to live his normal life with Mary Jane, and trying to impress her, which he kept being late to her plays. So when he ends up losing his powers, and there's so many good things in this film. Like, for example, the saving the train, the fight scenes with Dr. Octopus, and heck, even got its own video game. And I even love this movie for this. No matter what people say, I still will love this Spider-Man movie. It still is very iconic, it has very heart and emotional scenes. I will definitely watch this all the time. I definitely watch this because this is the best Spider-Man movie, in my opinion, period. So that's my ranking for the Spider-Man movies. So let me know in the comments. Do you like it, or do you disagree, or do you agree or disagree with me? In the comments down below. If you agree with me, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with others. It's Joe29 Shiba, and I'll see you guys next time. Later, and I got some projects on the other work. Bye, guys.